The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this call on such short notice. We have some really important information to get out there. We had a few more registrants than have currently joined the call, so we're just going to give it another minute or two to give everyone a chance to log on. So hang tight.
Okay, Rebecca, let's go ahead and start.
Okay, it's ready to go. The website is up.
Okay, great. This is Jan G, President of the Washington Food Industry Association, and several of our staff are on the telephone too to help guide you all through the next few days here, or a few weeks. Now, Rebecca, what are we going to do tonight if people want to ask questions? What are the instructions?
If you're on your computer, the easiest way is to either do the little hand raise button so I know to unmute you, or to type it in. And at the end, as we're getting towards doing questions, I'm going to go ahead and unmute everyone so they can ask questions. So please make sure that your phone is muted on your end so that when I unmute you, we're not getting background noise from everyone, and that will allow you to unmute yourself and ask a question when that time comes.
Thanks. Okay, so for those of you who were on our conference call a few days ago, I had talked with you that we were anticipating that the governor was going to elevate our emergency response to COVID-19, and we did that based on information from staff that we work with directly on this, and of course it was delayed a couple days, but at 3:30 today we had a call from the governor's staff stating that he will be having a press conference tomorrow, and he said it would be within 24 hours of the time that they called us. So it was 3:30 when they called us, so I suspect it will be in the early to mid-afternoon tomorrow. For those of you that want to watch it directly, all of his press conferences are on tvw.org. You can watch it, but obviously, because we're very, very close to this, we will be getting the written declaration. He will be making a declaration tomorrow. He will be elevating our state to what is called level 12. Now, when we say level 12, that's where San Francisco is right now and where New York is talking about going. states have the ability to modify level 12 in a way that they choose to. But it is our understanding, at least as of 3:30 today, that level 12 will include no travel except for critical infrastructure. And we sent a letter over to the governor a week ago and outlining everything that we needed exempted and from any kind of a travel ban and included under critical infrastructure. And we were guaranteed today that all of those elements of our industry would be included in that tomorrow, and that the governor would be specifically calling out the grocery industry, convenience store industry, fuel, any of the warehouses and trucks that provide the supplies and products that we need to operate. So they have been very, very responsive to our industry, and we're grateful for that. The key piece that is very important for you, and a piece that we just learned about in the last couple days, our state has what is called a business reentry registration card. And the only reason we even found out about this is because our emergency response people said to our association, you should have your executive staff apply for this permit so that you can help your industry through the next stages of this response to COVID-19. Up on the web screen here, and in the email and on our website, and we'll put it everywhere, is the Emergency Management Division emergency reentry registration. Tammy Hetrick, who's our vice president, has worked on this and worked on us getting our exemption. We need you to go in and get your exemption. I want to say, and I want to underline it, if you don't get your registration card and you don't get it out to all your employees right off the bat, don't worry about it. Just we'll give you more instructions here. But you register your company can get up to 500 permit numbers that you can then hand out to your employees, to your drivers, to whomever is going to have to travel on our roads and need to show local law enforcement, if pulled over, that they are part of the critical infrastructure and need to go to work or need to make our deliveries. It's a very short form. Tammy, are you on the call and can you talk? I mean, do you have anything else to add in on this since you've been our point person on doing this?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So yeah, I did apply for this. It is easy. So one person can sign in. You can have up to 3 email addresses, and you just identify how many cards you need. So you don't have to put a name on any of those cards. You just have to identify how many you need. But then you do have to be able to keep track of who has those and what travel is anticipated in case you're contacted. So they will have to have those cards with them. But the people with the email address will probably be the ones that they'll be reaching out to. And that's who they'll be communicating as these emergency situations change or whatever they may need. Those are the people who are going to be responsible for whoever has those cards.
They aren't cards that they're going to mail, it's just a downloadable piece of paper. if one of your employees, and you should give these instructions to all your employees, if one of them is pulled over for any reason and questioned if they're part of the critical infrastructure, if they give your company name, then the law enforcement and local government will call over to emergency management division to see if your company is registered. So it's a pretty simple process, should not be scary for your employees. They understand this is happening very quickly and trying to get all your employees one of these numbers. They can have it on their cell phone or whatever. You can have them download their individual number on a cell phone, or have them just say, I am employed with Charlie's Produce or UNFI Warehouse. So it's a simple process, but you need to all just go on to the website tonight and first thing tomorrow and get registered. So we don't know the exact details of what is going to happen tomorrow, but we do know that it's going to be a very strict travel restriction, and that is why the governor's office told us to make sure our members get registered. So if you are part of the grocery, convenience store, fuel, any of that bags, food container, then you are a critical infrastructure business. So Tammy, is there anything I have forgotten to mention about this?
No, that's what we know for now. There may be more that will come, and it will go through the emails once you've registered. Do be patient though, because this is going to be an overwhelming log, because they do have to check everything out before you get those cards.
So I would like to go ahead, and Rebecca, are there any questions that are up or hands are raised? And if we could ask everybody to mute their telephone right now, and we're going to unmute then the conference call. And only if you're wanting to ask a question, could you unmute your phone then for us? So Rebecca, do we have any questions or hands raised on your end?
Yes, currently we have a question from Kevin Stormans and Larry Baker after Kevin.
Does it include pharmacies?
Yes, it does, specifically. Larry?
So my question is, looking at the registration, it says corporate office. So Jan, do we put the head office in the state of Washington, or do we put our office would be in another state?
Tammy, can you answer
Yes,
that?
I can. Larry, it's going to be who you want to be contacted. So it's going to be your main conduit for any emergency communications that are going out, or someone who's going to be responsible for saying, yes, that's in my employee.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Maluski?
Yes, hi. Does it include wineries?
You know, that's a very good question, Michael. And when we submitted our request for exemption, we basically said everything that we've got in our stores, food and beverage. So, but let me, Rebecca's got your email right there. Let me get a hold of the governor's staff to make sure I'm giving you the right answer, because I hope it includes alcoholic beverages, because I know your stores have been slammed with that. I guess if everybody feels like if they're locked up, they might as well have fun. So
thank you.
We will check on all levels of alcohol, and we will get back with that clarification. And any clarifications we get on any of this or written statements, we will post on our COVID-19 website. Okay. Any other? Please mute if you're not asking a question.
Kyle Sarr, and then Jim Winkle after Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Hey, Jan. Hey, my question, I kind of just maybe a suggestion or kind of asking for advice from you guys. Right now, to meet the business, we're hiring a lot of new employees. So, I mean, our employee number is skyrocketing. They could be very temporary employees. And should we just give every employee that we have a card, or should we just give them the direction of saying, hey, I'm associated with SARS Super Saver Foods or SARS Inc., and just give them the direction of telling our corporate name rather than producing? Because I could say, I mean, we could very well go through 500 cards very quickly if we're giving them to people, and they might work for us for a week and go, and then we're hiring someone new. So I'm just wondering what you guys would think might be the best way for us to handle that.
I think the best way to handle it is to give your permanent employees the numbers and give good instructions for your temporaries to say if they get stopped, that they are temporary help backing up your company, because law enforcement can call emergency management. So that would be the best response for you, Kyle, I think.
Yeah, I can add on this too, because I did some research on this. And if the employee has something that identifies them as an employee of your store and you are certified, that also will work. So as long as they know they can reach out to someone and you've got the card and they're an employee and they have something that they can show, that would also work.
Thanks, Tammy.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys.
Who was next?
Jim Winkle.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jan. Any conversation or talk about restrictions across state borders at this time?
In terms of what you mean, the trucks?
Distribution.
No, if your trucks are coming into the state, you've got to make sure that you have this business exemption, but your trucks from out of state delivering product, you're fine. You're considered critical infrastructure. We sent over a letter today to the governor's office to make sure that in this process they're exempting our ports, the rails, the truck stops, all that type of stuff.
California and other states.
Sorry about that. Derek Moeller has his hand up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure can.
Okay. Does this include bakeries?
Any product that is necessary to supply the grocery store is exempt under this. It says grocery stores, convenience stores. So does the bakery bake and deliver to grocery stores? Even if they just sell themselves, but they also do wholesale business. Does that need more clarification? We're taking questions to send to the governor's office tomorrow. Is your question if it's a standalone bakery and only since it's retail?
I guess I should have clarified wholesale bakery.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
We need you in our stores.
And the other thing I might add is I'm wondering where the tab is to find that business reentry registration on the website.
Rebecca, can you scroll down on there? It should be on this business reentry registration.
Do you mean on our website?
Jan, I just updated that.
Okay.
And yeah, and it's
so Rebecca,
at the bottom of the screen.
Refresh it.
Well, I'm not on our website. Do you mean the link on our website?
No, I'm actually on the state's website, and I just found it by searching. But there's it would be nice, it would be handy to know which tab to click on. Right now, you've got home preparedness, disaster assistance, 911, like
Oh, I got it.
the tree to get to it.
Okay, Tammy, can you please answer that?
So the best way to do it is we sent a direct link from the notice. Rebecca, I think you added it to the notice that we sent out, and also the link directly on our website. So you just click that button and it takes you right to the registry. That's the best way to do it.
And for all of you, our website, www.wa-food-ind.org, and immediately when you open that, you'll see the COVID-19, and we are cataloging everything we're getting right there, and this information is already up and posted there for your convenience. And we're daily entering more information there. Did that help?
I think Michael Hannon has a question. Oh.
Hi, Mike.
Sorry, Jen. I had a question, actually a two-parter. The first one is employees who live in Washington State, however, distribution centers in Oregon, will they need to be registered to be on the streets of Washington to commute into Oregon to work?
I think, and I guess I'm going to lean on Tammy here, but my response would be that your Portland warehouse should also register separately from your Spokane, because you deliver to a different part of the state with different employees. Because if your employees are going down to the Portland warehouse and then coming back into the state, they need to be able to reference your warehouse, because you supply a lot of people in Western Washington.
Perfect. My second part,
just that, let's make sure, Tammy, you agree with that response?
Yeah, so when you're thinking about doing the registration process, you want to be sure whoever you have listed as the contact is going to be able to respond to where that card number is and who that employee is. So definitely you want to register it based on that location where somebody's going to be able to respond to who it is and the card number assigned to them.
Makes sense. The second question is, if tomorrow when this comes out, we're in the registration process, if we have trucks on the road on Saturday, how fast are we going to have a turnaround on cards for our drivers that may be on the roads of Washington this weekend?
You may not have them by Saturday, but telling them that you've done the registration, them knowing that this is a new process and that they just advised us of it, I think will be enough, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, well, the governors did say, said don't get panicked. It's new, and just that they explain that part of the critical.
Jan, we're losing you.
Oh, I don't know why. Still on the computer.
Okay, I can hear you now. I don't know what happened.
So I was just saying, employees mention your, and that you supply the grocery stores or the, and then of the identified critical infrastructure.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Ray Sprinkle has a question.
Yeah. Hi, Jen. If we have more than 500 production employees, warehousemen, drivers, Are they going to allow us to get the necessary employee numbers?
Tammy.
So again, I would say as long as they have identification that they're your employee and that you've registered for this business reentry, then they should be okay. That's what I have been told through everything I've read here, is that as long as they have identification that shows they're an employee and you have registered, then there's that tie-in, and they have someone they can contact to confirm that yes, that's your employee, and yes, you've authorized them to travel to wherever it is they're going.
Thank you.
Not stating that, but that to deliver groceries.
One more question, Jan.
Hey, Tammy, this is Stan. Stan Hilbert at URM. Are the cards that they sent, are they going to be electronically sent where we could duplicate them, or are they a hard copy in the mail, or do we know?
They're electronic. They each have a number assigned to them, and that is for one person. And so you'll get, if you do register for 500, you'll get 500 of these electronically.
Okay, is there a way, we've already registered and we put in a quantity that we need to adjust. Is there a way we can amend that registration?
I believe so. That's a good question. I didn't have to amend anything, but I will do some more research on that, and we can put that out there for everyone.
Give you ours.
But again, I would say if you need other people to be identified, just make sure that you've listed them, so they have something that shows they're your employee. And so that way, if they call or they email the person who is the primary contact, you can verify that that is your employee and that they are assigned to be doing that travel.
The easy way of doing it, because I imagine they're jammed. I gave all of our warehouses kind of really heads up, but take your little short saying that part of the medical import, the grocery and convenience store state, leaving the blanks employee, to full service and feel their glove or pocket. So at least they've your and that not don't worry that you're not just pulling every car on the road, but your business is registered. What else do you need?
Hey, Jan, your connection is breaking up quite a bit, Jan.
I don't know why.
It's been off and on.
Okay. Am I on?
Oh. Okay. Larry, did you have another question?
I do have another question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my question, we have multiple warehouses in Washington, so just one registration for multiple warehouses. So that's just an assumption. I don't have to list both locations. No, I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, sorry, I had to unmute. I think, Larry, that's going to be a choice. So if you want to have different contacts at different locations to verify, who's out there on the road doing the work, then I would say, yeah, do them separately, because then, the contact is going to be the person who knows where those trucks are and where they're going.
Right, and so I understood Portland, so I can do that one. And then we don't have one of the questions came out, but when will this take effect? Is it going to be instant, or is it going to be effective Monday, or has he said that yet, or do we know?
Tristan said is an announcement in the works. That they will probably make because what happened was all the parties at the Young People on St. Patty's Day act. The governor feels the way.
Jan, we can't hear you at all.
Okay.
Allie? Oh, sorry. Go
So
ahead.
the only other question I had is just for clarity, is trucks inbound to the state, those are not our trucks, those are supplier trucks. As long as you have a PO that says coming to our warehouse, that should be good for them. How do we notify all of our suppliers that this is going so that they don't stop shipments to us? I mean, I can send out a blast to them. I just want to make sure what those drivers will have to have. Because they could say they're, Genpack or somebody like that in our case. That won't be related to our company at all.
Tammy, can you answer that?
Yeah, so Jan might have more on this, but from the research that I've done, the trucking industry is somewhat exempted in this because they know they're trying to get supplies, but they were told to do the same thing as you. So they've all been told that they need to register also. I don't know if Jan was told anything different today on her call, but they've been told they need to register. And I do think if they have something that shows, yes, we're bringing goods to, this store, because there's only, during this restriction, they're only going to be allowed to travel with certain items. So they're going to have something that shows that.
Okay. Allie, do you have a question, Allie?
I did. I had a different one, but I figured that out. So for my employees, because we have the Canadian border to deal with, we just printed out a copy of their pay stub and then a letterhead that said this person is a critical employee, blah, blah, blah. And that's been working so far with the border being closed. But if we have a vendor that, say, is a small local vendor, but we need their product, can we give them one of our cards? Because they're not our employee, but they're a supplier for our stores.
They would need to register themselves because it's based on the company that you work for.
Okay. Okay, so we don't need to apply for 50 cards if we only have 40 employees, unless we think we're going to add more.
Correct.
Okay. That was it.
Okay. Rosa, do you have a question?
I do. So it kind of ties into the previous question. So we have pseudo employees, they're called jobbers. So they do work for us in stores. Would we be able to give them, but they're independent. So would we have to give them one of our cards as well, or would they have to apply for this on their own too?
So
they own their own vehicle, but they get product from us to service stores that you hired us to do the work.
Okay, I'm trying to think through this. I think in that situation, it would probably be more of a document that just shows when they're doing work for you. So not necessarily the card, because they're not your employee, but they could certainly have something that, showed that they were providing this material for your store, which is a critical infrastructure, product and items. Yeah, I think that would work.
Okay, and then I have a second question. So we have employees who don't live in Washington. They live in Oregon. That warehouse is in Oregon. So, but they're still delivering product to our customers. Can we give them one of these cards, or do we have to get cards for the state of Oregon too?
Okay, so I don't know totally the answer on that, but I do know because Washington is closing down, so to speak, they are gonna have to have one of these for Washington if they're going to be doing any work for you in Washington. So I would give them one for Washington, because the bottom line is if they get pulled over, they're going to call whoever is the contact on this and say, are they performing work for you?
Okay, okay, perfect. And so they're restricted, these cards have restrictions, I'm assuming that are they only allowed to operate during certain times of the day?
No, there's nothing like that on this. This is just, that will be based on whatever the governor, because like Jan had said, we're elevating to a level 12, but there can be some modifications within that level 12 as far as what the restrictions mean. So I think we'll know more after we get that notification of exactly what that restriction means.
Okay, perfect.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting. I've been muted this whole call.
Oh.
I'll wait in the queue, but this is Stuart. I have a couple questions.
Rebecca, do you want to let Stuart go ahead?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, Stuart, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Okay, sorry for that. Jan, thanks for the information. Many times your monologue kind of broke up, and so I really didn't catch a lot of critical things. I'm sorry. I don't know if it was me or the call, but inbound trucks coming from California and other states coming to us through Washington State, they have to be advised to do this work?
Yes.
Is there some sort of communication going out to them so they know to do it, or do we have to communicate it forward to them?
You all need to advise your own suppliers, because we don't know who they are. If there are members, they're getting all the notifications, but we don't know who all is supplying you, Stuart. So, and I'm sorry, I live in a hole and we're all working out of our homes, because Tammy and I were in Senator Cantwell's office when they announced that they tested positive. So we've been hunkered down here.
Okay, understood. And again, sorry for repeating. The deadline for us registering as a company is when?
There is no deadline. Just do it ASAP. Just get it done in. There's going to be a lot of leniency here because of the fact it's a new process. And there may be a lot of law enforcement out there that don't even know about this system. And again, just give your employees instructions to say, I work for Charlie's Produce, and we're part of the critical infrastructure, supplying grocery stores or pharmacies or whatever you do,
Understood. Understood. And I heard something about maximum amount of registrants per company, but I didn't catch the number. Is there a maximum amount of employees that we, as our company in Seattle, can register?
Sam?
So when you apply for the reentry card, you can get up to 500, but if you have more employees than that, or temporary employees, if they have identification that shows they're one of your employees and you have registered, then that also can be utilized based on what I read on the website.
Okay, good. So that was going to answer my other question. If we've got over 600 people in Seattle alone, and if they're traveling, they have an employee badge, that would suffice, although they're not all coming to the office anymore.
Well, and that's the thing. If they're an employee and they're only allowed to drive to be going, to and from work or whatever the restriction is, if a police officer pulls them over, that police officer needs to be able to call whoever is the key registrant for this program and verify that that employee is either scheduled to work or performing some task for that company.
Okay, so that's we need to identify a key registrant or some group that can field those calls and verify, huh?
Yeah, you get up to 3 email contacts and phone numbers.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's.
And again, Stuart, you know, the governor's office said this afternoon, we know it's a new system, we know it's crunch time, and it's going to be very lenient, but please ask your businesses to register.
Jan, now that we can hear you, can you repeat again what came out of your call with the governor's office as far as when the expected implementation time of the level 12 goes into effect?
They did not tell me. They said the governor would be having a press conference within 24 hours, that the executive order was still undergoing scrutiny. So as a result, they can't give me even a draft or anything. But as I said, I suspect that it will probably be immediate because they won't want people driving to work to offices and stuff like that on Monday morning. You know, and so I suspect it's going to be very quickly. What I was saying is, I think what prompted this was all the partying going on St. Patty's night with all the young people thinking, you know, they can't get sick from this. And it has really elevated the concern. Plus, our positive tests have really elevated also.
This is Kevin Storm. The announcement will be tomorrow. We don't know exactly the time.
We do not, but you know, what we do is we watch TVW, because the governor always puts up in advance his media advisories, and they have been happening around 3 o'clock, but I suspect they'll be anywhere between like 1 and 3 tomorrow. So, and as soon as we get it, it will automatically be posted on our website, and we'll go ahead and send an email out saying that it is there with the link, so you can look at it, read it, download it yourself, whatever you need.
So this is like a shelter-in-place order. They're not going to want public out on the roads traveling to and fro without necessity.
Right.
Okay.
And my concern is that this is going to kick in a level of panic by consumers. And, you know, I said, well, at least the governor could do is send local law enforcement a message to do a little extra patrol around our stores at first, you know, so people don't panic. But he's going to make clear people, and in fact, he's going to, I know this is included, people are still going to be able to go to their local grocery store, their pharmacy, with no concerns, and that there is plenty of inventory, and do not go hoard on groceries. You will be able to go to your local grocery store. But I would, if I were a grocery store, I would contact my local law enforcement and just say, hey guys, can you just kind of check in on us a few times, you know, and when we find out when it goes out. He's going to announce it tomorrow, so whenever it goes into effect, people are going to start panicking. And so if I were a retail store, I'd call my local law enforcement and just say, give us an extra hand.
So
And
Stan,
this is,
oh,
am I still unmuted?
yes.
Okay, good. So does this effectively shut down all business except for food related, fuel related, pharmacy related?
Critical infrastructure, all the healthcare facilities, doctors and dentists' offices will be open only for emergency procedures. I had both my dentist and doctor call me today and say we're closing down today. Health facilities, if you think about critical infrastructure, things that we need to survive day to day are still going to be available. Public libraries, all that kind of stuff has already been long gone and shut down. So general office buildings will be shut down unless they're needed to support the grocery store operation or the warehouse operation.
So people like an insurance company, I have a couple of renters in a building, insurance company, a juice bar, they're not critical infrastructure. So it sounds like they're not going to be able to be open, correct?
That is correct. I saw the only way that the insurance companies would be able to be doing business as if they had an incident occur that they needed to be on location for. I think that was referring more to hurricanes and earthquakes and that type of thing.
Hey, Jan.
Yes.
Hey, it's David. How long do you think I mean, this is a 2-week thing? Is that where we're trying to, what's the timeline here we're talking about?
I don't think anybody knows the timeline. I think as you see your daily news reports, and if we're elevating the number of deaths or positive tests, you can be sure it's going to keep going until it plateaus and starts to reduce. I think this will stay in effect.
I've been looking for a website that shows the trend on a line. You know, it's awful hard to remember the number it was yesterday versus today, but have you guys got a website that you follow?
Hi, this is Kat. So my brother is a doctor and he recommended Johns Hopkins as they're the ones that have the most up to date.
Thank you.
Maybe we can just link that on our website for our members tomorrow.
So Jan, this is Rebecca. We have several more questions, it looks like, but we are also getting down to the wire time-wise. So how would you like to do this?
Okay, let's jump through them quickly so we
Okay.
can close out here in the next 4 minutes or so.
Okay, Stan, are you muted, unmuted? Can you talk? He has a question. Okay, well, while he gets his phone figured out, Jeff O'Neill has a question. Maybe not. Okay, I'm going to read some of the questions.
Definitely unmute too.
Well, he's not muted. The phone icon's not lit up, but.
Okay. You can always email Jan.G at wa-food-ind.org. Y'all know my email, and it's on the website.
How about Will Goss? Gross, sorry.
Yeah, it's gross. Thank you. This is another eligibility question. I'm a wholesale retail florist.
That's a good question. We are going to have to ask that question along with our alcoholic beverages. You are products found in our grocery and convenience stores, but let us check that, and we will email you tomorrow after we get the answer.
Should I apply anyways?
I would.
Okay.
If you get denied, there's your answer, right?
Thank you.
So Tyler Myers had a question. Any idea if the governor will give some notice and time for consuming public to prepare, or will it be immediate upon announcement?
We do not know. They could not tell us because it had not gone through multiple layers. It had gone through some layers, but not the final approval. So we could not get details other than we know there's a press conference tomorrow. We know it's going to level 12. We know that you need to get your business reentry registration done.
Looks like Kyle Sarr had another question.
Hey, Jan, can I communicate with all my store directors?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
you should do that. You should get your employees ready, everybody ready, do what you can. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is
just don't
Kevin.
let your friend home do it on your personal Facebook.
This is Kevin Storm. As Jeff O'Neill was trying to ask a question, he went on to, during the call, to try to register, and he got to a point where the website asked for a continuity of operations plan.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that about?
So, yeah, it's really about what your plan is. Again, do you know where those employees are? You know, are you making sure that you're tracking some of that? So that's more about the continuity of, of the process with your employees. So developing that, you can work on that, but you want to say that you are definitely working on it and have one implemented.
Well, Jeff's saying that you actually have to have proof of a continuity of operation plan.
No, you don't. Nope, not for this application. You do not.
It's not letting him go forward past that.
Did he check it?
Yes.
Hey,
I was
Kevin.
able to check it and move on.
Hey, Kevin.
If I'm going to.
I checked. Sorry.
Okay, Jeff, go ahead and see if they can hear you.
Sorry to be patched through this way. So I did go through and I did complete the information and got down to the part where on the bottom of the registrant, it does ask for a continuity of operations plan. There's two different boxes you can select. One is my organization has a trained response personnel. The other one is my organization maintains a written plan and direct response recovery efforts. If I select either one of those, I get a red box error or red text error that comes up that says confirmation of trained personnel and response plans are required. Contact a.il.gov if you'd like assistance with these in place.
Both of those have to be checked.
Both boxes?
Correct.
All right, we'll try that.
What is a continuity of operations plan? I don't understand
Okay, that did work.
Yeah. So really, you just have to have a business. Pardon?
Say again?
We're going to have to close. We're going to have to close this one out.
I will send that.
So let's post Tammy's email on our website for questions on the registration card, any assistance that you guys are going to need tonight or tomorrow. And then any other general questions or anything, my email and phone number is already there.
Jan, do you want me to go ahead and post the link to the registration form?
Yes, please. And make sure Tammy's email and phone number is on there for assistance.
And this
You
is
also could you also explain what a continuity of operations plan is?
Yes. Yeah, I'll
Thank
get to work on that right away for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
We didn't think the call would go nearly this long. We apologize for cutting you off, but these were great questions, and we'll make sure that we're giving you an abundance more of information tomorrow to answer questions. Thank you very much. And again, I want to say, don't panic over the whole thing. Just do your best job, because the state's probably going to be so bombarded with these registration cards. Just tell your employees to say who they work for, and you supply the grocery industry or pharmacy or fuel, because you are critical infrastructure. So thanks very much. But